Welcome to the 1-year anniversary celebration. We've been celebrating all week, but this is officially the day that we began 1 year ago, and we're starting it just like we started back then with our very special guest. I would like to welcome Corning Mayor Bill Bolin. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Frank. Always great to be with you, and happy 1-year anniversary.
Can you imagine it's been 1 year?
That's terrific, man.
You've had a great year. You've had an amazing year.
Absolutely.
You became mayor, reelected.
Yes.
And you went, we just talked about last week, San Giovanni
Appreciate
Vardena.
it very much, the opportunity to share.
That was great.
Yeah, great.
So I just got a couple, I almost want to say generic questions, because sometimes we get into the nitty gritty. Let's have a little fun with this one, although we did have a lot of fun last week talking about the trip. But, and I do want to start also by saying I appreciate you being on the show a year ago, just like I do having you on today, because it was sight unseen. We had no idea what it was going to look like, you or me. That first day. So I do really appreciate it.
We did all right, right?
Yeah, we did great. I look forward to always having you on. That's where I want to start. So you just got reelected for 4 years. What do those next 4 years look like for you?
Well, it's actually 2 years.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forget your 2 years.
We did, the city council did recently change it to 4 years, but I made sure that it didn't benefit me. It'll start in 2025. Right. But the next 2 years are really going to be focused on something that is extremely exciting. It's an update to the city's comprehensive plan. It hasn't been done in 20 years. It's a fresh look. All the stakeholders of the city have gathered together, work for maybe take a year and a half or the full 2 years to really take a comprehensive look at what our community is and what we would hope it and want it to be 5, 10, 15 years in the future. It's an extraordinary opportunity. Extremely exciting.
And it's really been a passion of yours, because I know we talked about it on the original interview a year ago, that this has really been your focus and your goal for quite some time.
Absolutely. Again, hasn't been done in 20 years, so this is our opportunity to go at like 30,000 feet and look and say, take inventory of where we are as a community and where we want to go, and really define our future for ourselves. And
you think about how much has changed in 20 years. So it's and Corning itself, I mean, you know, it's always evolving in a way. So to get an opportunity like this, I think, is really kind of unique.
It is indeed. I feel, you know, it's a special opportunity, and really looking forward to it, working with, I said, a broad range of stakeholders and interested people, including the public.
Now you said you're not running again for re-election. So when you look back at your career, and I know we have the comprehensive plan to look forward to in the future, but when you look back at your career, what has been maybe the proudest accomplishment?
A number of things come to mind. The housing strategy, which we did about 3-4 years ago, was very important. It led to the Corning Housing Partnership, which was a public-private partnership, which led to the improvement of many, many houses throughout the city and created a model for us going forward to revitalize our housing, because, you know, there's no economic model to tear a house down and rebuild it in the city of Corning.
Right.
So you have one option: you got to fix it up. Another thing that we're working on right now is the development of a public art strategy. That's been near and dear to my heart. I was chairman of the Public Art Committee for a number of years, still participate on the committee, and we're just about to recommend to the City Council, actually we have, and the City Council has endorsed a public art strategy for the City of Corning. Very, very exciting development.
And what a great idea, because if you look, I know we're going to talk about this later on the program. I think tomorrow I have a guest on about the USA Today. You probably saw that. You have the opportunity to vote for Best Small Town Culture Scene, which is Corning. That ties in with kind of the art community and what will we become in 20 years.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a vibrant cultural scene, of course, centered by Corning Museum of Glass and the Rockwell Museum. But my point, I guess, would be, you know, culture is embedded deeply in this community in a way that a community our size just really doesn't see, whether it be the arts, dance, theater. It's all here. And, you know, I would just encourage people, go out and vote. You can vote every single day. Go vote for the City of Corning.
And we're very much like a big city with all the positives of a small city.
Absolutely.
I mean, to think of how many opportunities you had. I had friends from out of town because they wanted to go see the Corning Museum of Glass on Saturday. And I sometimes forget, because, you know, when you're local, you don't always go to these things like you should. The opportunity that you have going over the Corning Museum of Glass and really walking distance from where we are right now is just amazing. And Rockwell, of course, as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
And you know, you can go to those museums and spend days.
Yeah.
More
it's
than
overwhelming.
One day.
It really is.
Absolutely it is. And it's a rare privilege And like you said, I think sometimes we take it for granted. But, you know, whenever I've had the opportunity to go over there, there's just so much to explore and learn.
There really is. Now here's a tough question.
Yeah.
Looking back, because when you first ran, I remember that you were on the radio show way back then. When you first ran, what has surprised you the most about being mayor when you look at it today?
I think the opportunity to represent the city at various things, whether it be the Chinese New Year, India Day, the Scots have Tartan Day coming up, NAACP events from over the years. The opportunity to represent the city. In most cases, I have the opportunity to say a few words.
Right.
I always appreciate that and look forward to reflecting on, you know, what might be, you know, something good to say and sharing that with people, but mostly to represent the city. And, you know, there's another thing that politicians get kidded about, ribbon cutting.
Of course.
But when you think about a ribbon cutting, what does it represent? It represents progress, the evolution of our city going forward, people being hopeful, confident,
that's a great
surrounded by people who are support them and want them to succeed. And, you know, that's a privilege in and of itself that I enjoy.
Well, and all that you mentioned, ribbon cuttings and all the amazing events that we have in Corning and in the surrounding area, not to keep kind of reiterating this, but we are lucky. And like you said, it does show a sign of growth. It shows really where we're headed as an area.
Absolutely. No. I mean, and we're a constantly evolving community.
Yeah.
I mean, Market Street over the years, you know, Frank, it's just, you know, gone from one thing to another, but always evolving. And look what we have today, one of the great markets, one of the great main streets in America.
And you can tell it is yesterday when it was so beautiful out at lunch, I mean, just everybody wanting to get out. And it's always nice to get to look at the businesses again. You know, if you've been trapped inside for so long, that it's nice to walk down and go, what's changed? Has there been anything that changed?
And you know, one of the things our tourism folks will tell us, unique to Corning, is that when people come to Corning, they come back.
Yeah,
that's really tells a lot about the development that we've had and the product that we show destination visitors.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And just to see my friends as they and their families were getting to see Corning, not for the first time, to your point, but really take it all in for the first time. It was kind of neat to see it through their eyes as someone like you who has spent so much time on Market Street, so much time in Corning. It's nice to see what people think that are coming from out of the area.
Absolutely.
And they're so impressed. I've never heard anybody disappointed in their trip to Corning. So one of the other things we've talked about in the past, and I want to kind of touch on this for a moment, because early on in the program, my goal was, and I said it on the air, I think that first day, was to make this all about community. And that's why I was so glad that you could be on that first episode. But it's about community. And you're not just involved as mayor, but I know you're very heavily involved in Rotary. And so I would guess what I would say or ask you is, what would you say to somebody out there that's thinking of getting involved in their community?
Well, I'll give you another example. I've been a Meals on Wheels.
Oh, that's right.
Deliver once a week for about 14 years.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's an opportunity, and there are lots of them through various service agencies.
There's so many.
Exactly. And it doesn't require a huge commitment of time. My commitment for Meals on Wheels is about 2 hours a week.
Okay.
But there's an opportunity to just plug in and serve your community. And reach out to the various agencies. They're always looking for volunteers. And again, just so many opportunities to contribute to the community if you're looking for that. And I really encourage people to do that. And
there's really a lot of need right now. You know, I'm on the Salvation Army board.
Absolutely.
And you see the numbers from there. You see the numbers, Meals on Wheels. And when I talk to members of Rotary, there is such a need in our community. And that's throughout the whole state as well. But there's something rewarding, but also, I guess, touching in a way when you get involved like that and you see your fellow community people that are in need and have that place to go.
And just reflecting on Meals on Wheels again.
And
again,
exactly.
There are many different organizations, but my own experience is that when you take a meal to an elderly person that's shut in, you may be the only person that they see during the day. And to take that 5 or 10 minutes to engage that person, share a little bit about what either their concerns, their life, their happiness, is just an extraordinary experience. Really, not just for them, but most importantly to them, but also, you know, in this case, to me.
Of course. And again, there is need. So get involved. So that's what, I guess my next question would be is, what originally made you get involved? Where you said, I want to, you know, run for office. I want to get involved in these community projects. Because I think a lot of people it's that first hurdle that's the toughest. And then once they get involved, they're so happy that they have.
Absolutely. I mean, my history, my dad was the city editor of the Corning Leader for about 16 years. His beat, before he became city editor, was the city.
Okay.
He was a guy about town. He would go to everything. His beat was the city.
Yeah.
So this, that.
That's a good guy.
And he would drag us around. So that kind of that's in our blood. That's in our DNA. So when I came back in 2009, it didn't take me long. I've had a love affair with this city,
of course,
all my life.
Yeah.
So it was just a natural thing to do.
And back to your point, you can never truly leave, right?
No,
you're always going to come back. New York. That's Corning. So my last question for you. This is the toughest one I've got for you.
I need a few seconds.
Oh no, okay. You want to start with that?
I do.
I'm sorry.
Last time
we jumped right on the air. That's my fault.
Exactly. It was San Giovanni.
Oh yeah.
Thank you again for the opportunity to do that. I didn't know at the time. I'd like to share the San Giovanni Belladonna Sister City Committee pasta dinner and piano concert is Tuesday, April 16th at the high school.
Oh, coming right up.
Great Italian food, of course, but this year a very special performance by renowned pianist Andrea Turini from San Giovanni, making a special stop on his U.S. tour. As an added bonus, there will be performances by some of our very accomplished students. The price is $20 for the dinner plus the concert. For the meal only is $15. You can eat in or take out, or the concert only at $10. So get tickets at Brown Cigar Store, or go to our Facebook page, search for Corning Sister Cities Association of Corning, New York. That's Corning Sister Cities Association of Corning, New York. And I have one last thing. You got time?
Of course. I sit back. I'm ready.
Lastly, Frank, on the occasion of this celebration, I present to you a pin of the city of Corning.
Well, thank you.
This is presented to you in recognition of your ongoing contribution to Corning and surrounding communities, to bring civil and balanced discussions of the many issues, ideas, parts, and challenges of our civic life together. I hope you will accept this and wear it from time to time as a reminder of our encouragement to you to continue to bring us positive and interesting programming each morning, as you have over this past year.
Wow.
And surely, Frank, that reason for presenting this pin to you is very important. But it's arguably not the most important. Some would make the case, one that I have heard, that your most significant and important contribution is the dogged and pivotal role you played in getting Corning native rock and roll legend Duane Eddy into the Steuben County Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you.
That, my friend, is your enduring legacy. And I understand Duane is 85 now.
Yep.
But if he is still able to travel, please reach out to him and express to him that his hometown of Corning, New York, would love to see him again, and we would welcome him home.
I actually just talked to him the other day to tell him about this. So
I don't know if your camera can pick that up. Maybe you can.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be wearing it when we come back from break. I'm not good at that yet. It's only been a year here to try to get on camera. Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. You didn't have to do all that.
Well, it's our pleasure, Frank. And
I am going to definitely reach out to Duane and tell him, and he knows he's always invited.
Right.
He's always invited.
Does he still play?
Yeah. I actually saw him in concert. This was a couple years, right before COVID.
Maybe we get him up to one of the venues.
Hey, I'll put the bug in his ear. That'd be great.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate this, and we'll have you on again soon.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you. We'll be right back with Frank is Speaking. Stay with us.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselson's Hot Tub. Hesselson's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselson's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselson's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota.
Yeah.
Sick.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, get 1.99% APR for a full 48 months, plus $1,000 TFS subvention APR cash on a new 2024 Tundra.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today.
Toyota, let's go places.
How appropriate, that beautiful view of Market Street after talking with the mayor as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio. I knew I picked the wrong. There we go. I think that looks good. Thank you to the mayor. I might switch there. Thank you to the mayor for being on the program. This is, if you're just joining us, the 1-year anniversary celebration. Now, I know we've been celebrating all week, but this is actually the day that we began broadcasting 1 year ago, and the mayor was our first guest, so I really appreciate that. We have a couple other guests this morning. I know I'm going to be running a little late, so I hope that you'll bear with me. I've got to take another short break. Wow, look at all these waves coming in. Oh, thank you for the congratulations. I also received a good morning on the official 1-year anniversary of radio on TV and a virtual wave, so thank you to everybody with your kind words. I'd also say thank you to all of our guests who have been just so wonderful and moving their schedule around, especially when it comes to Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, Senator Tom O'Mara, and Assemblyman Chris Friend, because they are in Albany right now. So in full disclosure, some interviews are pre-recorded, but I wanted to celebrate with guests that have made this show, I think, really unique, and also guests that I just really enjoy talking to. We're also going to hear from Sheriff Jim Allard. This is not on just today's show, just to warn you, but we do have a lot of guests for the rest of the week. So thank you again to the mayor for this amazing pin, and I'm going to move it for the next break. But first we have a quick chat with Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, who actually, and this is in full disclosure, pre-recorded this the other day because he was on his way to Albany. But he wanted to stop in the studio and say hi. So I do really appreciate that. And that's when we come back from break. So stay with us. Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on the 1-year anniversary celebration of Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Wow. You found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
This is an important message for firefighters, members of the military, and airport workers. For decades, first responders and firefighters at military bases and airports used a chemical-based foam to fight fires. Studies have shown that chemicals used to make aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, are highly toxic to humans and have been associated with several types of cancer. If you or someone you know was diagnosed with any of those cancers, call now for a free case review.
Put confidence, adventure, and accomplishment firmly in your hands with the Polaris Sportsman lineup. Get the most out of every day, pull off the toughest hauls, and keep charging on.
Ithaca Recreation Sports, Route 13 in Newfield. Get outside and ride.
Tired and that always sticks. It's so scratched and worn, you can't cook in it.
Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new hammered pans from Gotham Steel. This complete 9-piece set is guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before. Hammered pans are ultra non-stick and they're even oven safe up to 500 degrees. So bake homemade chicken pot pie or this whole chicken dinner. Use metal beaters straight in the pan for a gourmet souffle that slips right out. Plus the entire set is dishwasher safe and PFOA free.
Get the full 9-piece Gotham Steel hammered set for just 5 payments of $49.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. But order now and we'll drop 1 payment. That's just 4 payments of $49.99. Plus, we'll include this free steamer and strainer, and our 5-piece bakeware set with every pan you'll ever need to make delicious breads, cakes, and desserts. That's a huge 15-piece set with free shipping. Call or click now.
Call 1-800-608-1538 or go to buyhammered.com.
It's a new season of Sherry.
Having a good time has always been my #1 goal.
It's the best time in daytime.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on Big Fox.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, the special 1-year anniversary edition. And joining us for the 1-year anniversary, one of our favorite guests, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Frank. Happy anniversary.
Of course. I want to mention, just in full disclosure, this is pre-recorded because you're on your way to Albany, and I appreciate you taking the time out. So I thought what we do is something a little different. I'm going to ask you questions we don't always have time to get to. How's that sound?
Sure.
Okay. Let's start first. I don't know if people can see it, but you have a button on Power of 3. What does that mean?
Oh, yes. This morning, myself, Senator O'Mara, Assemblyman Friend, we were at a legislative breakfast with ELNOS, and that's really to promote and support after-school programs for our youth. And the Power of 3 is their theme because we know our kids after school, what happens after 3 o'clock for those 3 hours before their parents might get home from work is really critically important. And how helpful it is to have a safe, reliable place for our children to go to after school, so they know that they're around people that they can talk to, that they can trust and study with, play with, things like that. And that just to emphasize the importance of that after school funding for our kids to support that. And I think this is something that really the business community should get behind, our teachers union should get behind. I'd love to see a collaboration because businesses want productive employees, and the only way that our employees will be productive if they know their children are a safe, reliable place when they're at work, and that they're being taken care of, and that they're in a okay. Yeah. So I think that's important. Our teachers would know it's important. Helps them with their students as far as learning, because it's an extension of the learning process at 3 to 6. So I just think I would love to see more of a collaboration of this. This seems like a common sense investment. With what they're asking compared to what the governor's proposing on some of her spending, whether it's like $2.4 billion for migrants, $700 million for the Hollywood film tax credit, $150 million for floating swimming pools. I think investing in our youth, and that'd be something that we could really make a solid investment that would actually pay dividends to the families, the kids, and to our business community as well.
Especially at a time when we've talked so often in the national news and local news about the detrimental effects of COVID on the education system, with that learning curve, if you will. So having that extra time to study and of course the camaraderie of your friends and things like that, it couldn't be more important at this time.
Right, absolutely. And we know that COVID really, before COVID, some of the issues that we hear about with our youth, social skills, mental health, just trust issues. That was a challenge before COVID, but it became exacerbated after it. And we heard from the providers, we heard from youth how having that relationship and having that trust factor and helping to enhance those skills, those interpersonal skills, which will help them be successful in the future, and to see smiling faces, because during COVID we know they had the masks on, you couldn't see the expressions, you couldn't see whether they're happy or sad. I know. So and it was nice to see a video with kids that they put together for us and talking about the importance of these after school programs for their well-being and for their happiness. And I think it's just a worthwhile investment we can make and should be making in the development and success of our youth.
And we've talked about it so often, Phil. Last time you were on, as a matter of fact, the priorities. And it just seems like sometimes with the numbers you've given, the priorities are a little out of whack sometimes in Albany, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the governor's proposing $100 million to fund this program. They were asking for $200 million. Yeah. And I'm not saying $200 million isn't a lot of money. Oh, right. But in the context of a $233 billion budget, in the context of the governor proposing $2.4 billion for the migrants, in the context of the governor proposing $700 million Hollywood film tax credit for the Hollywood elites, I think people would rather see some of that funding spent back here to help our youth. Okay. And I just think we can do a better job of it. And I think if we could have a better collaboration between these organizations and the business community and even our educational institutions getting on support of this, I think we can be successful in delivering on this in the future.
Another question, we played that great video about the CHIPS funding, and the pictures, I look forward to this every year when everybody comes up and visits you in the pictures. CHIPS funding has been something that's so important to you, and I think we talk about it quite a bit, but people are confused really what it is, I think, because you and I have talked about it for so long and we might get into the weeds. Could you tell us a little bit about why you're so passionate about CHIPS funding?
Sure, and basically the acronym of it is the Consolidated Highway Local and Street Improvement Program. And this is money that really comes from the state of New York that goes directly to each individual local municipality, Corning, Irwin, Cornell, wherever it may be. And that money really goes to those local communities, and they use that money to help improve their local infrastructure. They make the decisions on where to fix what roads, what bridges, or culverts, and it's critically important. I always view this program as almost like a mandate relief. If the mandates come down from one, it's direct assistance to help our local communities fix these programs, and it's critical Frank, because really, when you look at just the facts of the information, 87% of the roads in New York State are owned and maintained by our local municipalities.
Right.
52% of the 18,000 bridges are owned and maintained by our local municipalities, and these investments are critical. We talk about the MTA a lot during budgeting and transportation, and I'm not disputing the MTA is vitally important. I mean, I have Alstom and Hornell, we have CAF over in Chemung County. These are critical investments that are needed, but we want to see parity. And just as the MTA is a lifeblood of the downstate transportation network, CHIPS is definitely the lifeblood of the upstate transportation network. Sometimes CHIPS money is the only money these local communities have to fix their local roads, bridges, and culverts. And the governor in her budget, for some reason, again, budgeting is about priorities, decided to cut $60 million from the CHIPS program, which would be a 10% cut, and that cut would be have a devastating impact on local communities, their ability to get critical infrastructure work done. It would be a devastating impact on our property taxpayers, who would really be have to foot the bill for that gap if they want to continue that level of investment. And it really makes no sense. So, a month ago we had a press conference here with Chris Friend, Senator O'Meara, and myself to kind of put attention to this issue. My colleagues have been doing that around the state for the past 3 weeks. And this week we had over 700 highway superintendents come to Albany again with their orange shirts to talk about the importance of how local roads don't just matter, but they also are essential. And those are their themes for over the years. And they came up to advocate and say we need this critical investment, and to call attention to the governor and the legislative leaders, hey, we need to deliver on this, because if this cut goes through, it would have that devastating impact. So we had it. We sent a letter to the governor back in February, and not just the governor, the legislative leaders, and also the respective transportation chairs of the two committees in the Senate and the Assembly, to put a spotlight on this issue, saying, hey, this needs to be a priority in the budget cycle, because if this cut were to go through, it would be devastating. And we're not just talking about restoring the $60 million cut. There needs to be an additional investment. Critically, $200 million would be helpful, and we bring us some parity back between the MTA and the DOT capital budgets. Like the DOT five-year capital budget right now that we're in is $32 billion, but the MTA 5-year capital plan is $51 billion. So there's no parity between the funding in the MTA and the DOT, and we need to make sure this becomes a priority. And this investment, because the other thing that's really hurt our local communities, the Federal Highway Administration has announced over the past 30 months, 2.5 years, the Highway Construction Cost Index, which is basically the inflationary increases to the highway departments, has increased over 58%. So any money that we get and help them with an increase has been eaten away by the inflationary increase, just like people see basically in their own pocketbooks, whether they go at the grocery store or at the gas pump. So that's why this is overly needed, and our people up here deserve to have some of their state tax dollars come back to fix their local roads, bridges, and culverts, their local infrastructure, just like the folks downstate want to see their dollars come back to downstate to fix their infrastructure.
When you think about, again, priorities, when it comes to taxpayers, what do they want to see more? They want to see good roads, right? I mean, that always, especially this time of year, that's all the complaints you hear about. Right. I've done so much damage on my car hitting these potholes, things like that. And it also goes back, and we talked about it many times, just the safety aspect of it. This is where you and your family are driving every single day.
Absolutely. I mean, how many of us put our kids on a school bus every day that goes over a local road, bridge, or culvert? Yeah. We need to be proactive, not reactive to a tragedy. And the numbers out there show that we need to do this. The comptroller's report from a couple of years ago said we have over $89 billion with a B of unmet local infrastructure needs, including $27 billion in local bridge need. TRIP is a transportation advocacy group. They came out and they do a study every year saying it costs New York drivers over $36 billion annually, more than $3,600 per driver, in increased costs, whether it's fixing your vehicle, maintenance on your vehicle, because of bad roads and conditions. And we see that it's deterring over and over again. So, and even the town highway superintendents came out with an updated study saying there is a $2 billion gap in local infrastructure needs outside of New York City. So the need is there, it's warranted, it's justified. You take the need plus the inflationary increases and impacts it's had to our local communities and property taxpayers. This is a worthwhile investment. And it's impactful. It's public safety. I mean, an ambulance or a police car going to an emergency, if that bridge or culvert or road is out, what are you supposed to do? And I always say too, every dollar we invest in the CHIPS program is one less dollar that comes from the local property taxpayer. Every dollar we invest in the CHIPS program, it saves $6 to $14 in long-term rehabilitation costs. This is a worthwhile investment, and I think this is something the public would certainly support.
Absolutely. We got to take a short break. Stay with us. By the way, I like the video showing you back in 2014, leading the charge. That was good.
Yeah, it was fun, but a little younger.
We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
America's beloved classic, The Sound of Music, is coming to the stage at Corning Peña Post High School March 21st through the 23rd at 7 p.m. and March 24th at 2 p.m. This timeless story of family, love, and triumph will find you singing along with all the songs you've grown up with. All reserved seats are just $10, so get yours today at www.cppasd.com/tickets. That's www.cppasd.com/tickets. So bring your family today and find your dream.
If you are on regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer.
How do I know if I have a case?
Call 844-292-6222 and consult with one of our attorneys to find out if the products you used are part of the lawsuit. Your eligibility will also depend on how often you use these hair products and your specific cancer diagnosis. If you regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. Call 844-292-6222.
How much will it cost to talk to an attorney?
There is no fee unless we win your case. Call 844-292-6222 for your free case review.
Out of here, Nick. Who shocked America in the season premiere?
Kevin Hart!
Yes! The Masked Mania surprises continue Fox Wednesday.
We're headed to Emerald City.
4 new masked celebrities compete to see the wizard.
This is the great and powerful Oz. What's going on? The great Oz has spoken.
Tonight. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, the 1-year anniversary edition. We have Assemblyman Phil Palmisano here in the studio. It is pre-recorded because obviously you're going to be busy in Albany. Excited? Is that the right word?
Yeah,
I won't let you use the word you want to use. Tell us about something, because we don't always have time to talk about this, and it's always a point we try to bring up, and sometimes we run out of time. But your passion and your dedication to the cause of Donate Life.
Oh yes, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. And as April gets closer, April is every year is like National Donate Life Month. We do a resolution in the legislature to proclaim April as Organ Donor and Tissue Awareness Month. It's certainly a very personal issue to me. My sister Teresa was a 2-time organ transplant recipient. She had juvenile diabetes, which impacted her body. So she had a kidney pancreas transplant back in 2000, and then that lasted for a while. And in 2006, I had the opportunity to donate a kidney to her. But I've told people my sister is a lucky one. She had 2 transplants. A lot of people don't even have the opportunity for one. And I didn't know how bad the numbers were, Frank, till I got up to Albany in 2011 and walked on the floor and saw some of the statistics. So we've made it a point to really focus on this issue to help bring awareness and education to the public. And we've made some progress over the year, but we certainly have a long ways to go. Like right now in New York State, there's about 8,000 New Yorkers waiting for an organ transplant. Some 1,300 have been waiting for more than 5 years. The average the donation rate in New York State is 46%. It's the national average is around 64%. Wow. There are 52 registries across the states and territories. New York's number 50 out of 52. And when I think of these numbers, but probably the most important statistic that we should know is that one person who donates at the time of their death can save up to 8 lives and impact the lives of up to 75 others. And that's a very powerful number. Yes. And I know some people don't like to think about this issue because you're really thinking about one's own death.
Right.
But think about those statistics I just gave you, and then think about it. What if it was your mom or dad, brother or sister, husband or wife, or God forbid your son or daughter, and they were needing a life-saving organ transplant, and you heard some of these numbers? It might change your perspective on trying to get involved and register. And like I said, we've made tremendous progress over the years. Like, for example, Lawrence Law was named after a brave 12-year-old heart transplant recipient who then became basically the face of this issue, the most powerful. They talk about lobbyists and advocates, one of the most powerful young voices I've ever seen. She got Lawrence Law implemented, and that's right when you go to the DMV to get your license. Right. you have to answer a question. Do you want to be an organ donor? You can answer yes or skip the question. You don't have to say yes, but you have to answer the question, because if you skip the question, it still continues later on, and you can ask later. But if you don't answer the question, they won't process your license. That's helped tremendously.
I'm sure.
The other two areas I think that have had a significant impact is several years after that, we allowed 16 and 17-year-olds to register their intent to be an organ donor. Now, God forbid something were to happen to them, that decision rests with their parents. But it certainly focuses a serious conversation that kids might want to have with their parents, and vice versa, know their interests. I mean, I've talked to family members before. They said, I don't know how I would have handled, but then when I found out my child wanted to do it, it made it much more clear for me. So by doing that, I think that helped get more attention to the issue. And the other thing that we've done that really has helped transform the process, now you can register online. You go online, answer some questions, some security things, and then you will be signed up. So, and I firmly believe we can make a difference with this. We are making a difference. And over the past 10 years, compared to when I was in 2011, I said our donation rate was 46%. Back in 2011, it was 23%.
Wow.
Back in 2011, we had 52 registered. We were 51 out of 52, so we moved up a little bit. But when I talked about number of people on the wait list, I would talk about over 10,000, not nearly 8,000. When I talk about the 5-year wait list, I would talk about 1,700 waiting for 5 years instead of 1,200 years. So we have made progress, and we continue to do so. But we have to get that question in front of people and ask them the question. So I guess that if you're listening, if you're an organ donor already, I would say thank you. If you're not, I would just ask you to consider it, talk to your family and friends about it, because really, in Albany, we talk about a lot of issues, but this issue is about saving lives. The other issues, can become political, but this just makes sense. And if you have those discussions, those honest discussions with your family members, and I think we can make a difference. And some people have said, why don't we just do an opt-out? Like, you're an organ donor unless you say you don't want to be. And I 100% disagree with that, because organ donation, it's a gift. It's a gift of life. You shouldn't be persuaded or pressured into it. You should be wanting to do it willingly, because you know the impact it can have on other people's lives. So we should never have an opt-out for that. You should opt in. But I believe more and more New Yorkers will continue to opt in as long as we get that question in front of people. And I think we should put it on all the forms we can. When your health insurance, we talk about DMV, when you register to vote, your tax forms. I mean, we tried to move that way, and it got the tax and finance didn't like it, so then it got declined. But we continue to educate and make people aware, and I think the more we do that, we're going to do a better job, and we can and we must do better. And I think working together we will, and we'll see more and more success, because it's about saving lives.
I just have a couple more questions for you, Phil, and I'm glad that we had time to talk about that. All right, this one is completely different, but just the other day there was 2 or 3 pieces on Empire Report that I found very interesting, and that just to kind of boil them all down, I just wanted to get your initial reaction to it. Governor Kathy Hochul blames judges for misunderstanding the bail laws. Then we heard that she said, well, this was a law that was done under Cuomo. And you're never going to hear me agree with Cuomo spokespeople, but Cuomo spokespeople said she's not an innocent bystander anymore. It's been 3 or 4 years. It's not Cuomo's fault anymore. What's your thoughts when she says that judges don't understand the bail laws?
First of all, ridiculous answer. Not an answer of a leader. It's a leader, supposed leader who wants to point blame and diffuse the responsibility that she has as the governor of the state. If she was serious about helping this issue, the fact of the matter is, judges in this state, we're the only state in the country that does not allow a judge the judicial discretion to hold someone if they're dangerous to a community. But the legislature, the progressive legislature, and the governor took that ability to do that. Now we are the only state in the union that does not allow judges to take that into consideration and allow them the discretion. Give the judges the discretion. To say that judges don't understand, they understand the law, very clear, because the law prohibits them from setting bail on certain crimes. And the fact of the matter is, we saw it with the Venezuelan individual who murdered the Georgia Stewart Laken Riley.
And then you have that's the thing, and I think that's why she's bringing it up. There's been horrific story after horrific story in the last couple of weeks. I mean, there's a whole laundry list in some of these. The release of the people that were found with body part suspects, story after story after story, and she's still trying to fake everybody out with that. No, I'm tough. I am tough, and I just don't think people are buying it.
No, absolutely. I mean, they had the illegal migrants that assaulted the law enforcement officers, and then they left the courtrooms sticking up their middle finger, and then the next thing we know, they were probably on a bus to California, another sanctuary state, sanctuary city. And our governor has embraced the sanctuary status of the state. She could do something she could end Governor Cuomo's executive order that allows that prohibits our law enforcement from cooperating with federal ICE officials. So when an immigrant commits a crime, they would be able to communicate with ICE and deport them or penalize them, but they are not allowed to do so.
No.
So there are steps she could take as a governor of state. She doesn't want to leave. She wants to deflect blame. She has the ability to do it as a governor of state to address these issues, give judicial discretion back to our judges, get rid of the sanctuary state, and allow our law enforcement at every level to cooperate with federal ICE officials. That's just not leadership when you point blame.
I know. All right, this is the last question. This is out there. This is going to be deep. I've interviewed you probably hundreds of times at this point, right? For 14 years, give or take. Hundreds of times. Has there ever been a time where you said, darn it, Frank, I wish you would finally ask this question of me? What would that question be?
Really? I'm kind of drawing a blank here. I don't know.
I just asked them all. That's how good of an interviewer I am.
You are a fantastic interviewer. I enjoy it, Frank. Listen, I mean, I honestly can't think of a question that you could ask me right now. All I will say, if it allow me the minutes or time I have left, is it's really been a privilege to work with you from radio now to TV. You certainly are a tremendous asset to this region. You help bring information and clarity to the people in the public. To have this show to wake up to, just like with your radio show.
Thank you.
You discuss important issues that impact people's lives, and sometimes they don't get that from the traditional media, obviously. Yeah. So you to have these discussions and bring community awareness to the public, I just can't thank you enough. I mean, you're not just a good friend, but you're a great person and certainly a great servant to the community. What you're doing is really truly public service.
Wow, thank you, Phil. And that's the question I was hoping I'd get from that answer. I was hoping. Phil, you know I really appreciate this. The fact that you always try to make a point to come into the studio, of course, I appreciate that. And the fact that you joined this show sight unseen when you first came on, not knowing it was brand new. You didn't know what it was I didn't know what it was going to look like. So I appreciate you always being on and always being there when people have so many questions. You're a fan favorite, you know that. And we're going to start Phil Fridays back up soon. So Phil, thanks so much for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Enjoy Albany.
Congratulations again. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking.
Isn't your wellness important? Don't you want more energy? Now's the best time to make every day better and relieve those achy muscles and pains than with the Hesselsen's Hot Tub. Hesselsen's has hot tubs in stock and available for immediate delivery with unbelievable savings. Hesselsen's offers 0% interest-free financing for up to 5 full years. Hesselsen's carries the only hot tub brand in the industry with the exclusive freshwater salt system that is eco-friendly and easy to use and only enhances your hot tubbing experience. Come in today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselsen's hot tub. And remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
Attention, if you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and now have uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call now to see if you qualify. There's no fee unless we win your case.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face. And what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes. And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work after your first application. Your solution is at plexidermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
We decided that things were a little bit too easy. Wow. So for today's challenge, there's a twist. Of course there is.
Fox Thursday.
I'm bracing myself for the worst.
One twist ingredient.
I see it. And my stomach drops.
Oh no.
What is this thing?
Your time starts now.
Will throw the chefs off their game.
Now it's overcooked.
It's very raw.
And lead to a shocking elimination.
The person
I'm going to choose
to put into the elimination.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, the 1-year anniversary edition, right here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. And joining us, Sheriff Jim Allard. Thanks so much for being a part of this.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful day in Steuben County, Frank.
It always is. I was thinking, I've had an amazing year. 1 year in, had a lot of fun with this. I love the show. You've had a very different 1 year.
Well, if you know me, you know I have fun no matter what.
But you're having fun, and that's all
do.
that matters.
Yep.
It has been, looking back, and I know it's not a year-end review because here it is March, but it has been kind of a roller coaster of emotions and ups and downs for
It has.
for you.
I can't pretend that August and September and October of last year were not difficult.
Right.
And they were extremely difficult on my family.
Of course.
And, my character was being attacked, and my reputation was being attacked, and all of that takes a toll on you. And but when you're following the law and doing the right thing, you have faith that everything's going to come out, that the truth will come out, and everything will work out like it's supposed to. And I've had that. I've never lost that faith.
No, you do have an amazing attitude, because a lot of people, just from the jump of what you knew would cost you a lot of money personally at first, at least, a lot of people would have almost been discouraged at that point to maybe not go on. And then you're not only going on and fighting it, you're saying, I'm going to run for re-election too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
This is my anniversary. You're supposed to be bragging me up, not me bragging you up.
And wow, the great help of Frank.
I couldn't have done it.
I couldn't have done it without you, Frank.
No,
it's one of those things that you look at it and you say, in our lives are short.
Sure.
And we only have a certain amount of time to achieve what we can and to make the difference that we can for our communities. That's kind of the way I look at it. And the important thing for me is the work we do at the sheriff's office, not the political maneuvering that goes on other places that affect us.
Right.
And I've never endorsed a candidate. I've stayed out of the political fray to that end, maybe to my detriment. I don't know. But I feel like what we do is so important. What the deputies and correction officers do is so important. That's the real issue for me, is the performance of our folks. As far as all the political outside maneuvering, and that's not important. No. And I had one of the investigators come to me and say, how can you be so cheerful every day with all that's going on? I said, because I'm very lucky. I can compartmentalize what's important and what's not.
Right.
And what's not, I just don't spend energy or time on.
No.
So
and it's amazing, because you've been saying it from the beginning and your various press releases. I mean, really, at the end of the day, this is about serving the people of Steuben County.
We're public servants, 100%.
And that's what you've been focused on. And that's, thank heavens, that's what your office has been focused on, too, because something like this can very much get you down, or morale down. I'm not saying probably morale's been perfect, but I'm also saying that, it's good to see that we have faithful people in there that are willing to keep doing the good work while all this other stuff is going on out there.
I had a general tell me one time that morale's very simple. He said it's three things. It's have an important job, have the tools and the training to do that important job, and then have the appreciation of those that would lead you in doing that job.
That's great.
So our folks have all three of those, regardless of what happens in other parts of the county government.
Sure.
But within the sheriff's office, they have those three, and I think there's a lot of truth in that simple statement.
I like that we've skirted around the issue. So if someone is like in Chemung County has no idea what we're talking about, I love this. Do the research. Watch the old Frankly Speakings. That's what you can do.
Yes.
So
all online.
You're running for re-election.
Yes, sir.
What are you looking for in the future? Like what, with your next term?
So this term is about solidifying all the programs that we've started.
Which is a lot.
And there's over 30.
Yeah.
Over 30 new programs that we've started. It's really about, so the skeleton is set now, and now we want to get some flesh on the bones.
Yeah.
And get everything solidified so that when I hand off the keys to the next person, they don't have to fight the same battles I've fought.
Right.
They can take this hopefully finely tuned machine and move forward with it and continue to improve the performance. I tell our deputies all the time, the only people you're in competition with is yourself.
Right.
Do better service today than you did yesterday. Do better service tomorrow than you did today.
Sure.
And I want to be in a position to hand that off to somebody that's in our program that can continue on with it. excuse me, we're by the end of this year we will be fully accredited on all phases of the office.
Oh, wow.
So for the first time in the history of the sheriff's office, we'll have law enforcement accreditation by the end of this year.
Right.
We'll be the only accredited agency in Steuben County, and I think that is going to be a beacon to other agencies to follow suit.
Well, how can people not only help your campaign, but help the sheriff's office? I know sheriff's office apply for corrections officers, but
you need people.
I know, but in general, how can they help you? And I think it's important to say help the sheriff's office.
So one of the programs that we started was we have a community group called the Sheriff's Foundation, which is a 501c non-for-profit that their whole purpose is to raise money to support training and equipment for the sheriff's office. And it has a civilian board, and it's run by folks that care about the sheriff's office.
Right.
Not only support me with petition signatures, but if you want to make a donation, make it to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they've purchased our last 4 canines.
Oh, really?
Through every canine we've had has been entirely through donations.
I knew you had mentioned that.
And no taxpayer dollars for the initial purchase. But that's one way you can support us too, is because if there's something that we need and we're not going to be able to get it through the county budget, they step in and make sure that our folks have the equipment and training that they need.
Well, great. Well, thank you for being on the anniversary show. Thank you also. I'm trying to say this to everybody. Thank you for coming on the program originally, sight unseen. No one knew what it was going to be like.
Well, I knew it was
trusted
going to
me. Yeah, I know. Did it disappoint?
No.
Okay, good.
So I want to thank you real quick, Frank, for what you do. In this world, our local media outlets are shrinking. The newspapers are they're a ghost.
Yeah.
And they're run out of Rochester. If it weren't for folks like you, no one would be presenting the local media coverage. All of these issues, local issues, would be uncovered, or would have no one talking about them. And the fact that you weave in national issues, state issues, with local issues, I'm so happy to see you doing this.
Well,
please keep doing it for another 10 years at least.
Talk to management. But no, they've been great. So.
But it's so important today with the shrinking media outlets. Somebody's got to have that local voice.
Well, and it's sad, not just for me, but in general, when you talk to people that know so little about the candidates they're running. My biggest thing has always been, even back in radio, get every candidate on that you can have so that you can learn, because where else do you learn it?
Right.
And I think that's something that the more locally focused the media is, the better off we all are. But unfortunately, I think it's going
100%.
And I also think it's very funny that you, Joe, and Phil have like a fan club on the show. Like I get seriously concerned. The
I get
emails
Joe and
I get,
Phil. I don't get me.
It's constant in my emails when you guys are on. You should have them on every day. Well, that's not my show anymore. That's your show.
Well, then it becomes the Joe, Phil, and Jim show.
Yeah, I like it. I say let's do it. Well, thanks again. Thanks so much for being on.
No worries. I appreciate your support.
All right, we'll be right back with the anniversary special after this. Stay with us.
Our water's better tasting. It's better for the planet.
That's great, sir. Can I take your order?
Oh, number 3.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install our drinking water and softening systems, we're thinking about filtering contaminants and the minerals that make water hard. So you can just think about softer, cleaner, better tasting water. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Was your baby fed a cow's milk baby formula such as Similac or Enfamil? If so, your child may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Evidence shows that cow's milk formulas increase the risk of NEC in premature babies, causing severe harm and even death. If your child was born premature and suffers from NEC, intestinal perforations, sepsis, cerebral palsy, or died as a result, you may have the right to sue for significant financial compensation. Call now for a free case review.
Vamos, dale pues, mamá ya, muévete más loco como solo tú lo sabes. Así es, con las manos en la cabeza, sacúdete, sacúdete, mira,
Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Aubrey.
For over 40 years, the Blaze Alexander family dealerships have been making car buying easy, affordable, with respect for your time.
And we do that by treating all of our customers like family.
By making sure you get the lowest rates, biggest discounts, and most for your trade.
By providing clean, comfortable, and convenient service.
By offering the largest selection of new and pre-owned vehicles every day. Visit a Blaze Alexander family dealership,
where we're taking the deals
the other guys won't.
Are you 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now and get this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers, from a leading financial firm on maximizing your income in retirement. This book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. And if you call right now, as a bonus, we'll throw in a free annuity rate report. We've researched over 1,200 annuities summarizing the rates and benefits for you. So don't miss out on this opportunity because supplies are limited. Call now and find out how you can get up to 33% more income in your retirement, and you'll receive Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers and the Annuity Rate Report as an added bonus. Both books are yours free, just for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-354-5972. That's 800-354-5972. Again, 800-354-5972.
Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. It's the 1-year anniversary edition of Frankly Speaking. What a star-studded lineup today's broadcast brought. I want to thank all the people that reached out for congratulations or to send waves. We've got this comment, which I appreciate very much. Wow, a blockbuster of a show. Great guest lineup. Thank you, Frank. No, thank you. We're going to go through our thank yous here in just a moment. If you're just joining us, I did receive the pin to the city from the mayor, and I appreciate that. So what an exciting day to have this fall on, as last night you had Trump clinching the Republican nomination for president, scoring enough delegates, of course, and you had Biden clinching the Democratic nomination for president. So now we have the matchup. We are in it, in the thick of it, if we weren't already. Hey, good news for Biden, by the way. According to Stephen Collinson from CNN, in their ever fair manner, Biden has shelved the age issue for now, so we don't have to worry about it any longer. The president's vigorous State of the Union address has partly reset the political narrative and is still delivering dividends. The primetime look at Biden in his element, dominating the stage, dominating, offered a robust counter-image to the one Americans have sometimes seen, yeah. Not being reported on, though. Hey, what did you think? And I know I'm out of time. What did you think? If you want to comment, the number's still on the bottom of the screen. I'll check it at any time. RFK Jr. considering Aaron Rodgers, of course, Jets QB, or ex-WWE star Jesse Ventura as his running mate. Also on the short list, Tulsi Gabbard, Senator Rand Paul, and Andrew Yang. But apparently the last three have turned it down. I've got to be full disclosure, not a huge fan of Jesse Ventura at all. I'm not sure if that takes it into a weird circus position if RFK, well, it's already an uphill battle, we know that, but if RFK Jr. goes that move, it could be some credibility issues. Finally, Ken Buck is set to retire from Congress next week. He never let Mike Johnson know. But that's just a quick update. Thank you to all of our guests. Thank you to Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. Thank you to Sheriff Allard. And thank you to Mayor Bill Bolin, who started this program with us 1 year ago as my first guest, and repeating it 1 year later and giving me the pin to the city. Thank you so much. But most importantly, thank you for watching and being with me for this year. I can't wait what the future holds. So please tune in tomorrow morning, starting at 7, for Frankly Speaking.
Coming from all across the country to compete in the crown jewel of rodeo.
You can't go at it any harder!
The competition is stacked. Brash rookies and legendary veterans.
Unbelievable!
Take on the top pros. It's a winner-take-all showdown for the biggest payday in rodeo. $1 million.